Welcome, everyone. Today, we are going to explore the story of one of the most famous music festivals in the world, Coachella, a place where music, fashion, culture, and celebrities come together. But here's the truth. Coachella was not always this big. It was not always successful. And it did not become famous overnight. It started small. It struggled. It even failed in the beginning. But step by step, year by year, it grew into a global phenomenon. So in this video, you will learn the full history of Coachella, from its early struggles to becoming one of the biggest festivals in the world. Chapter 1. The Beginning. How it all started. 1999. Let's go back in time. Before the lights, before the celebrities, before millions of fans, there was just an idea, a risky idea. In the late 1990s, a concert promotion company called Golden Voice wanted to do something different. At that time, music festivals were already happening, but most of them were in cities, stadiums, or safe locations. No one was thinking about the desert. But Golden Voice had a vision. They wanted to create a music festival in a unique place, a place that felt free, open, and completely different. So they chose the desert of Indio. Now think about this. A music festival in the middle of a hot desert, far away from big cities, with extreme weather and limited facilities. It sounded crazy. Many people thought it would fail, but sometimes big success starts with a crazy idea. Now here is something very important in this story. Before Coachella was born, there was a moment that inspired it. In 1993, a famous band called Pearl Jam refused to perform in regular venues because of ticket issues. So they did something bold. They organized a concert in the same desert area. And guess what? Thousands of people came. This showed Golden Voice something powerful. People are ready to travel. If the experience is special, this idea stayed in their mind. And years later, it became Coachella. Finally, in October 1999, the first Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival happened. Yes, that's the full name. And it was not small. Golden Voice invited big artists like Beck, Rage Against the Machine, and Tool. The stage was ready. The desert was filled with music. People arrived, excited, curious, and full of energy. For them, it was something new. A music festival under the open sky, surrounded by mountains, with art, music, and freedom. It felt different. It felt special. But here is the truth. Even though the experience was amazing, the festival was not a success, at least not financially. Golden Voice lost a lot of money. The costs were high, the audience was not enough, and the profit was almost nothing. For a company, this was a big risk, a very big loss. Now imagine this moment. You create something new. You take a huge risk. You work hard. And in the end, you lose money. Most people would stop here. Most people would say, "It didn't work. It's too risky. Let's not try again." And that is exactly what happened. For a short time, Coachella did not happen in the year 2000. It disappeared, just like that. But here is what makes this story powerful. Even after failure, the idea was still alive. Golden Voice didn't forget the vision. They didn't forget the feeling of that first festival. They knew something important. The idea was right. Only the execution needed improvement. And this is a powerful lesson. Sometimes, you don't fail because your idea is bad. You fail because the timing, the strategy, or the execution is not perfect. So even though Coachella failed in 1999, it planted a seed. A small beginning, a risky dream. And that dream was not over. It was just waiting. For a better comeback, every big success starts with a small, risky beginning. And sometimes, it even starts with failure. Coachella was not born successful. It was built, step by step, after failure. Chapter 2. The Comeback, A Second Chance, 2001. After the failure of 1999, everything went silent. No festival in 2000, no big announcement, no excitement. For many people, Coachella was already over. It came once, it failed, and it disappeared. That's how most dreams end. But not this one. Inside Golden Voice, something different was happening. They were thinking, not about quitting, but about improving. They asked themselves one important question. Was the idea wrong, or was the execution wrong? And the answer was clear. The idea was powerful. People loved the experience. People enjoyed the music. People felt something different. The problem was not the dream. The problem was how it was done. So instead of giving up, they decided to try again. But this time, they would do it smarter. In 2001, Coachella came back. But it was not the same. Golden Voice made a bold decision. They changed the format. Instead of a big multi-day event, they made it a one-day festival. Why? To reduce risk, to control costs, to test the idea again. This was not about making huge profit. This was about survival. The location stayed the same. Indio, the desert, the heat, the open space. Because they believed in the place. They believed the desert was part of the magic. Now imagine the situation. A festival that already failed once. Many people were unsure. Will it work this time? Will people come again? Will it fail again? There was doubt everywhere. But sometimes, you don't need full confidence. You just need courage to try again. And slowly, people started coming, not millions, not huge crowds, but enough. Enough to keep the dream alive. The energy was different this time, more controlled, more focused, more thoughtful. Golden Voice learned from their mistakes. They improved the experience. They made things smoother. And step by step, Coachella started breathing again. Now listen carefully. This was not a big success yet. It was not famous. It was not global. It was not trending. But it was alive. And sometimes, that is enough. Because success is not always a big moment. Sometimes, success is simply not giving up. This second chance was very important. Because it proved something powerful. Failure is not the end. If you are willing to learn and try again, Golden Voice didn't repeat the same mistake. They adapted. They changed their strategy. They stayed patient. And that patience started building something bigger. From here, Coachella slowly began its journey again. Year by year, step by step, it started growing. But at this moment, it was still small, still fragile, still uncertain. The world sees success, but it forgets the second chance behind it. Coachella didn't become famous in one try. It survived because it had the courage to try again. Chapter 3. Growth, Becoming Popular, 2002 to 2006. After the second chance in 2001, Coachella was no longer a dream that failed. It was a dream that survived. And survival is the first step. But growth is the real challenge. Now the team at Golden Voice understood something very important. They could not rush success. They could not try to become big overnight again. This time, they needed to grow slowly, carefully, and consistently. So from 2002 onwards, Coachella started evolving. It returned as a 2-day festival. This was a big step, Not too small, not too risky, but balanced. Golden Voice had learned from their past. Now they were not chasing hype. They were building an experience. And that experience started to attract attention. More artists joined the lineup. More fans started coming. The desert of Indio slowly began to transform from an empty, quiet place into a vibrant space filled with music, energy, and creativity. Now here is something very important that made Coachella different. It was not just about music. Yes, some music was the heart, but around it, something unique was growing. Art installations, creative stages, open spaces to relax, a feeling of freedom. People were not just attending a concert. They were entering a different world. A world where music, art, and atmosphere came together. And this is what made Coachella special. Now think about this deeply. There were many music festivals in the world, but Coachella was creating something new. It was not just listen and go home. It was feel the environment, enjoy the vibe, experience something unforgettable. And when people feel something special, they talk about it. Slowly, word of mouth started spreading. Friends told friends. Fans shared their experiences. This festival is different. This place feels unique. You should go at least once. And this is how growth begins. Not from advertisements, but from real experiences. Every year, Coachella improved. Better organization, better artists, better experience. They listened to the audience. They learned from mistakes. They stayed consistent. And slowly, the crowd started increasing. Not suddenly, but steadily. Now something interesting started happening. Coachella was attracting different types of people. Not just rock fans, not just pop fans, but everyone. Different music styles were coming together. Rock, hip-hop, electronic, indie. This diversity made the festival even more exciting. Because no matter what your taste was, you could find something for yourself. And this is a powerful lesson. When you create something for everyone, you grow faster. Coachella was no longer limited. It was becoming inclusive. And inclusivity creates expansion. By 2005 to 2006, Coachella was no longer just another festival. It had a name. It had an identity. People started recognizing it. They started planning their trips around it. They started waiting for its lineup announcement. This was a big shift, from survival to recognition. But still, it was not the global giant we know today. It was growing, but quietly. Strong, but still building. And this is the most important phase of any success story. The phase where no one is watching, but everything is improving. Big success doesn't come suddenly. It is built in silence, through small improvements, and consistent effort. Coachella didn't become famous overnight. It grew, year by year, step by step, in the desert. Chapter 4. The Big Breakthrough. From popular to global, 2007 to 2012. After years of slow growth, after learning, improving, and staying consistent, Coachella was finally ready for something big. Very big. By 2007, the festival had already built a strong foundation. People knew its name. Fans trusted the experience. Artists respected the platform. But now, it was time to move from popular to global. And this change didn't happen by accident. It happened because of one powerful decision: bringing the biggest artists in the world. Now think about this. When a small festival invites average artists, it stays small. But when it invites global stars, the whole world starts watching. And that's exactly what Coachella did. They brought legendary performers like Prince, Radiohead, and many other major artists. These were not just musicians. They were icons. They had millions of fans. They had global attention. And when they performed at Coachella, something changed. Suddenly. Coachella was not just a festival in the desert. It became a global stage. People from different countries started noticing it. Music lovers from around the world started talking about it. Did you see that performance? Coachella is getting huge. We need to go there. Now here is where things became even more powerful. In 2012, Coachella made one of the smartest decisions in its history. They introduced the two-weekend system. Same artists, same experience, 2 different weekends. Why? Because demand was exploding. Too many people wanted tickets. But not everyone could attend at the same time. So instead of limiting the crowd, they expanded the opportunity. And the result? Massive success. More people attended. More tickets were sold. More attention was created. It was no longer just an event. It became a global phenomenon. Now something else started happening. Coachella began to sell out very fast. Tickets were gone in days, sometimes even in hours. And this created something powerful. Exclusivity. When something is hard to get, people want it more. Now attending Coachella was not just about music. It became a status. People wanted to be part of it. They wanted to say, I was there. Now listen carefully. This is the moment when everything changed. Coachella was no longer growing slowly. It had entered the phase of mass popularity. Social media also played a big role. Photos, videos, performances. Everything started spreading online. Millions of people who never went to Coachella started experiencing it through screens, and this increased its power even more. Now artists also started seeing Coachella differently. It was not just a performance. It was an opportunity. A chance to reach a global audience. A chance to create unforgettable moments. A chance to make history. And when artists see value, they bring their best. This is why Coachella performances became special. Not just normal shows, but iconic moments. Something people would remember for years. Now think about this journey. From a failed festival in 1999 to a global stage by 2012. This was not luck. This was vision, consistency, smart decisions, and patience. Success doesn't come when you start. It comes when you stay consistent long enough. Coachella didn't become global overnight. It became global because it never stopped growing. Chapter 5. Culture, fashion, and celebrity influence, more than just music. After becoming globally popular, Coachella entered a completely new phase. It was no longer just a music festival. It became something bigger. A cultural movement. Now understand this carefully. Before this phase, people went to Coachella mainly for music. They wanted to see their favorite artists. They wanted to enjoy live performances. But slowly, that reason started changing. People were not going only for music anymore. They were going for the experience. And one big factor behind this change was celebrities. Famous actors, influencers, models started attending Coachella. They walked around the festival. They took photos. They shared their moments online. And millions of people saw those images. Now think about this. When a normal person attends an event, it creates small attention. But when celebrities attend, it creates global attention. People start saying, If they are going there, it must be special. And this is how Coachella's image started growing. Now something even more powerful happened. Fashion became a huge part of Coachella. People didn't just wear normal clothes anymore. They started dressing in unique styles, colorful outfits, creative designs, festival fashion. It became a place where people could express themselves, not just through music, but through their appearance. And this created a new identity for Coachella. It was not just about listening. It was about being seen. People wanted to take photos, post on social media, show their lifestyle. Now, Coachella was not just an event. It was a visual experience. Social media played a huge role here. Platforms like Instagram made everything bigger. Photos from Coachella started going viral. People around the world started watching, even if they were not there. This created something powerful. Global desire. People started dreaming. One day, I want to go to Coachella. Now listen carefully. This is where Coachella became more than music. It became a fashion festival, a social media trend, a lifestyle symbol. People didn't just attend. They participated in a culture. Now here's an important truth. When something becomes culture, it becomes stronger than a normal event. Because culture connects emotions. People feel part of something bigger. And when people feel connected, they come back again and again. But there was also another side. Some people started criticizing Coachella. They said, "It's not about music anymore. It's more about photos and fashion." And in some ways, they were right. Because the festival had changed. But change is part of growth. Coachella was evolving into something new. Now understand this powerful lesson. Success is not just about what you create. It is about how people experience it. Coachella didn't stay only a music festival. It became an experience people wanted to live. And that made it stronger. Now by this stage, Coachella was everywhere. In music, in fashion, on social media. It became a global trend, something people talked about, even if they never attended. Coachella didn't just grow in size, it grew in influence. It became more than music. It became a culture the world wanted to be part of. Chapter 6. Expansion. The two-weekend system and massive growth. After becoming a global cultural phenomenon, Coachella reached a new problem. Not failure, not lack of popularity, but too much demand. Now think about this. Millions of people around the world wanted to attend Coachella. Tickets were limited. Space was limited. Time was limited. And every year, tickets were selling out faster, sometimes in just a few days, sometimes in just a few hours. People were frustrated. They wanted to go, but they couldn't get tickets. Now this is a powerful moment in any success story. When demand becomes bigger than supply, you have two choices: stay limited or expand smartly. And Coachella made a brilliant decision. In 2012, they introduced the two-weekend system. Same festival, same lineup, same artists, but held on two different weekends. Now think about how smart this was. Instead of increasing the crowd in one weekend, they doubled the opportunity. More people could attend. More tickets could be sold. More experiences could be created, without losing quality. But this was not easy. This decision had risks. Artists had to perform twice. Logistics had to be managed carefully. The experience had to stay consistent. Because if one weekend felt better than the other, people would complain. The reputation could be damaged. But Coachella handled it perfectly. Both weekends offered the same energy, the same performances, the same experience. And this created something powerful. More access, without losing exclusivity. Now listen carefully. Even after doubling the weekends, tickets still sold out quickly. This showed something very important. Demand was not just high, it was unstoppable. Now Coachella was no longer just successful. It was massive. The number of attendees increased. The global attention increased. The influence increased. Everything multiplied. And with this growth, the festival also became bigger in every way. Bigger stages, more artists, more creative setups, more art installations. The Desert of Indio was no longer just a location. It became a temporary city of music and culture. Now something very interesting happened. Because of 2 weekends, people started comparing. Which weekend is better? Which crowd is more energetic? Which performance was stronger? And this created even more conversation, more excitement, more engagement, more attention. Social media exploded with content. 2 weekends meant double the photos, double the videos, double the buzz. Even people who didn't attend felt connected to the festival. Now brands also started noticing. Big companies saw the power of Coachella. They started sponsoring. They started creating experiences inside the festival because they knew this was not just a music event. This was a global audience. Now understand this powerful lesson. Smart expansion can multiply success. Coachella didn't just grow randomly. It expanded strategically. It increased reach without losing identity, and that is very rare. Now by this stage, Coachella had reached a level where artists wanted to perform there. Fans dreamed of attending. Brands wanted to be part of it. It became a complete ecosystem. From a failed event in 1999 to a 2-weekend global festival. This journey was not easy. It was built on learning, adapting, and making smart decisions. Success is not just about growing. It's about growing the right way. Coachella didn't just become bigger. It became smarter. And that is why it became unstoppable. Chapter 7. Modern Coachella. A global icon and final lesson. After years of growth, after risks, failures, and smart decisions, Coachella reached a level that very few events ever reach. It became a global icon. Today, the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival is not just a festival. It is a worldwide phenomenon. People from different countries travel thousands of miles just to be part of it. Millions of people watch it online. Millions talk about it on social media. And every year, the world waits for one thing: the Coachella lineup. Now think about this moment. A festival that once failed now controls global attention. That is not normal. That is the result of years of consistency and belief. Today, the biggest artists in the world perform at Coachella. Names like Beyoncé, The Weeknd, Bad Bunny have taken the stage. For many artists, performing at Coachella is not just a show. It is a career moment, a chance to create history, a chance to reach millions. Now something even more powerful has happened. Coachella is no longer limited to people who attend physically. Through live streaming, anyone in the world can watch it. From their phone, from their home, they can experience the festival. This has made Coachella even bigger. Not just an event for thousands, but an experience for millions. Now let's look at what Coachella has become. It is a music festival, a fashion platform, a cultural trend, a social media movement, a global brand, all in one. But behind all this success, There is a powerful story, a story many people forget. They see the fame, but they don't see the failure. They see the crowd, but they don't see the empty beginning. They see the success, but they don't see the struggle. Let's go back for a second. 1999. It failed. 2000. It disappeared. 2001. It tried again. 2002 to 2006. It grew slowly. 2007 to 2012. It broke through. After that, it became global. This was not luck. This was a journey. Now listen carefully. Coachella is not just a festival. It is a lesson. A lesson about life. A lesson about success. A lesson about growth. What can you learn from Coachella? 1. Failure is not the end. Coachella failed in the beginning, but that failure did not stop the dream. It improved the strategy. In your life, failure is not your enemy. Giving up is. 2. Growth takes time. Coachella did not become famous overnight. It took years, step by step, year by year. So don't rush your success. Build it slowly. 3. Consistency is power. Even when it was small, Coachella continued. That consistency created strength. In your life, consistency will always beat speed. 4. Smart decisions matter. The 2-weekend system, the artist selection, the experience design. Everything was planned. Success is not just hard work. It is smart work. 5. Build something unique. Coachella didn't copy others. It created its own identity. Music plus art plus culture plus fashion. That uniqueness made it unforgettable. Now understand this final truth. You don't need to start big. You just need to start. Because every big success you see today was once small, unknown, and struggling. Coachella is not just about music. It is proof that dreams can grow, even after failure. It is proof that consistency wins, even when progress is slow. And it is proof that something small can become global. If you don't give up. If this story inspired you even a little, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this story. Because sometimes, one story, at the right time, can change everything.